So a lot of people don't realize that tariffs have a direct and an indirect effect on your Social Security check. So we're going to talk about that today. The effects it will have immediately and in the future, based on COLA and other things. So we'll talk about that, and we'll also add a little bit about tax on Social Security, what we're looking at possibly for the future, since it is tax season coming up here. Everybody's favorite time of the year. Well, maybe not so much. All right. So my name is Ed Weir, and I help people throughout the country make sure they get everything from their Social Security, what they paid into it, Social Security, retirements, survivor benefits, Medicare, Medicaid. This is also a live Q&A. Looks like I already got lots of questions. So I'm going to get to today's topic as quickly. I'll go through it as quickly as possible so I can get to y'all's questions and help you get your money. All right, so tariffs. There's been a lot of news about tariffs in the news recently, so people wanted me to talk about this. So we're talking about Canada, Mexico, China. It looks like Canada and Mexico is on a 30-day hold, but it looks like Canada is kind of taking that. Hey, we're the largest, one of the largest trading partners, if not the largest trading partners, and y'all are going to do this to us. We'll just go find other sources of our stuff. So it looks like we might lose out there, but it looks like it might be on a 30-day hold. But the one for China has taken effect. The United States Post Office says they're not going to accept packages. And then I guess they changed today, said they are going to accept packages, but there's going to be tariffs on those. So how does all that affect your Social Security? So this is tariffs from it doesn't matter when they take place, how they affect your Social Security. Number one, obviously, tariffs affect your Social Security. There's 40 to 50% of people out there that just live on Social Security alone. The average check is about $1,900. And I'm sure a lot of the people out there watching it right now, they're saying, yes, I live on Social Security alone, but I wish I had $1,900. But that's the average check. There's a lot of people out there living on a lot less. And so that's one of the reasons I make this channel, to bring to your attention all the other benefits available. Again, not only from Social Security, but Medicare, Medicaid, and all the rest of it. So anytime there's a tariff, that is an increase in that price of that whatever product or service, and that is going to affect those people, particularly those people. It's going to affect everybody, but it's really going to affect those people that are living on low income, particularly with just Social Security, because prices of those items are going to go up. So it makes the buying power of your Social Security check even less. How is that going to affect in the future? And what I'm about to say, I've got the references in my YouTube description. Just go down there and look at my YouTube description, and it has the reports, the analysis of how tariffs affect Social Security checks, and particularly with COLA. Okay, so here's how it's going to affect it in the future. We all, we wait patiently every year for the COLA numbers to come out. They usually come out in the first week of October. And how it is, it's based on a basket of goods. It's called the CPI, Consumer Price Index. And they take a basket of goods, groceries and clothing and healthcare and food and rent and all this kind of stuff. And so they take an analysis of all this, and they look at it based on the third quarter of the previous year. And then they look at the same basket of goods the third quarter of the present year, and they see how many percent that basket of goods went up. So this last time they did it, it was 2.5%. And people say 2.5%, that is terrible. That's actually, it's good and bad in the sense of, we don't want a giant COLA increase, because a COLA increase means that the prices of stuff went up astronomically. So actually, we want to kind of guess, in some respects, we want a zero COLA, and that means prices didn't go up or went down, because they're not going to give you a negative COLA. So that would be the optimum thing. So the smaller COLA is actually better, and people are out there who says, no, I want a higher COLA. But again, that means prices went up, and that's for the COLA is to compensate, cost of living adjustment. That's supposed to compensate for the increased prices. But when you get higher tariffs, then the prices are going to go up, and you're going to get a higher COLA. But again, you're going to be paying higher prices. And the thing that's going to affect that in the future, which is detrimental, is people that watch my channel on a regular basis know that as of right now, the Social Security Trust Fund is slowly being depleted. The Social Security Trust Fund has about $2.7 trillion in there. It's real money. And you can find out whether it's real money by going to Wall Street and asking all those billionaires whether they want that $2.7 trillion. and they're all chomping at the bit to get that money. So it's obviously real money in their eyes. So you got about $2.7 trillion there. And that is money that baby boomers have been putting away since the 1980s for their future retirement. And guess what? Baby boomers, 11,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every single day. Every single day, 11,000 people are turning 65 in America. And so they're retiring. So they're taking away from their savings. That trust fund, only normal. It's their money. They're getting it back. A couple of years ago, 2023, the $70 billion came out of the trust fund and it went into your checks. If you're receiving Social Security, if you were receiving Social Security 2 years ago, you got part of that $70 billion. For 2024, the numbers aren't out yet. For 2025, if you're getting a check this month, then 5, 10, 15% of your check comes from the trust fund. So it is real money and it's going into your wallet. The problem is that trust fund is slowly being depleted. And because of different things, one of the big things is people that make over $176,100 don't pay FICA tax anymore. So there's a lot of money going to the rich and they don't pay into Social Security. So the Social Security, less money is coming in. So as of right now, we're looking at about 2034, there's going to be about 22% cuts. And that is of right now, if Congress does nothing, or AKA if we don't do anything, if we don't make Congress do something to fix this, then we're going to get about 22% cuts by 2034. Probably it's going to, when they redo the numbers, it's probably going to be about 22, 23. It's probably going to be about a year early, about 2033. Or if the current administration gets some of the things they're talking about, particularly with tariffs and no taxes on Social Security, which everybody likes, no taxes on Social Security. I agree with that. But the problem is that is all of those things are going to deplete the trust fund quicker, including tariffs. How does that work? Prices go up. COLA has to go up to compensate. Where does that COLA money come from? It comes from the trust fund. So if we have tariffs and no taxes on Social Security and some of the other things, and again, all the references are on my YouTube description, so you can see the actual analysis. I'm not just blowing smoke here. You can see the actual analysis. If all of that takes place, then the trust fund will be depleted sooner. So we're looking at about 2031 or 2030, and then the cuts are going to be deeper. They're looking at about 33% cuts. So tariffs equal COLA equals depletion of the trust fund. That's how those things are linked. And again, taxes on Social Security. So no taxes on Social Security, no taxes on tips. My mother was a waitress in a breakfast diner, so I'm all for no taxing on waitress tips. But the problem with that is, okay, if you're not going to tax Social Security, then that's fine. Number one, it's not really going to help the people that you think it's going to help, because 40 to 50% of people that are just depending on Social Security, they don't pay taxes on their Social Security anyway. So it's not going to help them. It's going to hurt them because there's going to be deeper cuts sooner. So those people out there that don't even pay taxes on Social Security are out there saying, hey, no more taxes on Social Security. Well, number one, you don't pay taxes on Social Security because all you receive is your Social Security check and maybe a little bit of income on the side. And number two, it's just going to hurt you sooner and more. So, be careful what you wish for. So taxes on Social Security, no problem if they do it. If they decide to pass that, then they have to find the money to fill the gap that those taxes bring in. Because when you pay your taxes on Social Security, the IRS says, okay, this is taxes on Social Security. Let's give that back to Social Security. And Social Security puts that in the trust fund. So taxes on Social Security go to the trust fund. Taxes on tips go to the trust fund. So more stress on the trust fund, more cuts sooner. Okay, so those are how those things linked, and my single focus in this channel is to focus on Social Security, Medicare, and all the rest of it. And now let's jump into our next segment and answer as many questions as we possibly can in the next hour or so. Okay, let's see, Rich. So it looks like someone is answering somebody else's questions. Had a couple of employees on Chapter on this channel answering questions from the comments. I say 98 to 98% are good comments about Chapter. Yeah, Chapter is the company I partner with to help you with all things Medicare. So if you need help with, and now is the open enrollment season right now. So if you've got a bad Medicare Advantage, and you want to switch, or you forgot to check your Medicare Advantage and you realize your doctors are no longer in network and you're paying, crazy amounts for prescriptions or whatever the case may be, you can switch January, February, March. You can switch one time and get another Medicare Advantage, or better yet, you can get out of a Medicare Advantage and return to a Medicare supplement plan, but you'll have to go through underwriting in that case. But Chapter can definitely help you out if you need help. Husband 62, getting SSDI. Can he collect Social Security from mine also? Collecting mine at 62. If something happened to him, could I get his full amount? Okay, couple of three questions there. All right. So yes, if he is 62 and you're about to collect yours, you have to start collecting yours first, and then whichever one is higher. I'm not sure if yours is twice his amount, his full amount. Well, he's getting SSDI, so his amount that he's getting is his full amount. Maybe minus Medicare or something, but it's full amount versus full amount. So you're going to be getting yours at 62, and your check is going to be reduced by 30% because you're getting it early. But what Social Security does is compare your PIA, which is your benefit amount at your full retirement age, and compares it to his PIA, his benefit amount at his full retirement age. And if one is over twice the other, then yeah, whichever one is the lower can get those extra benefits, can get the difference. But yeah, so you're going to be filing here pretty soon, and ask him at that time. Says, hey, he got my husband here. Can I get anything from him, or can he get anything from me? And if the numbers work out, they will take an application for auxiliary spouse benefits from you. So, and the second part of the question is, what something happened to him? Could I get his full amount? In terms of surviving benefits, is if his benefits are higher than yours, that's not for surviving benefits. It's not the 50%, it's up to 100%. But you only get up to 100% if you are your full retirement age. So you can get 100% of his benefits at your full retirement age. And because he's receiving SSDI, if he was receiving retirement at, early, then you would get 100% of not his full benefit amount, but his reduced full benefit amount. And then there's different calculations on widow's limb and different stuff. Survivor benefits are case by case. It's so many variables there. But in your particular case, I think we're good there. Rita, I'm 70 and my husband is 70. We both retired before I was married for 23 years with my ex-husband, and he retired. Can I still collect part of his Social Security income? No. Sounds like you're still married, and you're receiving benefits off your current husband. The only way you can receive off of an ex and be married is if your ex is deceased and you're receiving surviving spouse benefits. You can remarry after the age of 60 and continue those surviving spouse benefits. But in your particular case, unfortunately, no. Tariffs are not going to affect us negatively. They didn't first time he was president. Well, soybeans and actually it did. But anyway, I got married a few years ago, so both me and my husband are retired. Do I have to report it to the Social Security that we get married? Not necessarily. I mean, if you want to change your name, then you have to go get a new Social Security card. But it really depends of whether you're receiving benefits. There might be some extra benefits there. So it really depends if you're receiving benefits from his record, or you're eligible to receive benefits from his record, or whatever the case may be. All right, let's see. Have people gotten their Social Security checks this month? When mine mom was alive, her check was sent on the first day of the month. Mine is sent on the third Wednesday. Haven't heard if it will shut down Social Security. Yeah, it's based on the people that were receiving benefits before was in 1997 received it usually on the first or the third of the month or something like that. But for kind of technical reasons, or more kind of management reasons, they decided to kind of spread it out a little bit. So you get yours on the third Wednesday of the month. That means you were born between the 11th and the 20th of the month. What happens is if you're born on the first 10 days of the month, you get your check on the second Wednesday. Second 10 days of the month, you get it on the third Wednesday. Last 10 days or the last of the month, you get it on the fourth Wednesday of the month. So that's how that works. Hi, Doc. Why is Elon Musk in charge of Social Security amongst so much more? I'm confused. He has no security clearance. Yeah, he's got uh, yeah, he's got unprecedented power over the checkbook that writes. The Social Security Administration doesn't send out checks. They send the files to the Department of Treasury, and that Department of Treasury department that Elon Musk and his 19-year-old kids are in control of, um, have the checkbook. So, yeah, I have no idea why that's the fact. Let's see. They are only in read-only mode of the data they are looking at. Elon cannot change or dismiss anything. He simply gives the recommendations to the president. I have not seen anything about read-only mode. Yeah, uh, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure. If you have access, I know on the Social Security computer system, MCS and MISIX, there is no real read-only mode. So I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about there. What reference you're quoting? Social Security told me that they will make a decision for disability between now and March 26. I have scheduled CE for my eyes. Okay, so they will make a decision between now and March 26, and but they have a you have a CE scheduled, a consultative exam. A consultative exam is when you file for disability benefits and the medical records aren't there or not sufficient or whatever the case may be. So they schedule you a time to talk to a Social Security contracted doctor. So I don't think they're going to make the decision. I wouldn't think they would make a decision on your disability case before you saw the consultative exam. So could Social Security cancel my appointment? Oh, I ran the third business Social Security office in the country and close to 100 employees, and we never canceled appointment. Well, unless with one time, I guess a car ran into the telephone pole down the street. We lost electricity, so but other than that, yeah, no, we never canceled appointment. If we had to, someone called in sick or something like that, we would, just give it to somebody else. So, yeah, but that's the old days, 2 or 3 years ago, before they went to this crazy, appointment only system, and they're at a low 50-year low in terms of staffing. So nothing it surprises me anymore, and this is a conscious decision by politicians to break Social Security. And yeah, so y'all just throw up your hands and say, forget about it, give it to Wall Street. And then they win. Lester Reed, I forgot all the time until someone, oh, okay, about, I guess, clicking like and subscribe and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. Let me see here. 70 GPO, government pension offset. Spouse started at 67, died at 73, got the $255, now protected back to February. Application they took is for survivors. Will I need a separate app for spousal for February, August? No, a spousal survivor, same thing. So surviving spouse, it's a surviving spouse benefit. So if you filed for that GPO, Social Security is working on implementing the Social Security Fairness Act right now, but Congress being Congress, they said, here, do this incredible workload that's going to take you an unbelievable amount of man hours to do, and we're not going to give you anybody to do it. And so typical Congress. So call your Congress people. Should we file our taxes knowing that Elonia has control over everything? I'm going to file my taxes. So there's that. I've been trying to cancel my subscription to the IRS for decades, and it just doesn't work. Do I have to declare my SSDI back pay benefits this year, 2024, or do I need to declare it for 2025 taxes? I just received it this week, and I have to pay taxes on that big amount. Yeah, I would reach out to a tax accountant. I don't do taxes here, so um, I'm retired and collecting from my job pension. I'm afraid it will increase my income and put me over the income limit, making me pay 50 to 85% of benefits. Okay, so yeah, you're talking about taxes there, but in terms of the income limit, say we're talking about, early retirement, the $23,400, the pension doesn't add in there at all. So you're talking about, you said 50 to 80%, those are tax numbers, the IRS. But then you said the income limit, and for early retirement. So but a pension does not factor into the Social Security income limit. Ha- Taxes are taxes with the IRS are a completely different thing. So, thanks for all your help to help people. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, here's a little negative one. I like these every now. You're full of and doing what the Democrats are doing and making up BS to scare people. Okay, what? I'm not exactly sure. The tariffs. Yeah, that's it's in the news. So, should I start taking my Social Security now, even though my spouse is still working? We will be taxed on it, but my husband says I can switch to spouse benefit when he files. Okay. Yeah, whether you take it now, it's if you're the lower earning, that's usually what it's called a split strategy. The lower earning, the lower income, the lower benefit takes that benefit, starts getting that money. Your spouse working is not relative. If you're talking about the annual earnings limit that you have to stay under the 23,400, that's on your work. It doesn't matter it doesn't count your spouse's work. Um, and taxes, again, I don't do taxes. My husband says I can switch to spousal Social Security when he files. You can add, you can't switch. You still have to continue to receive your benefits, and then you file for benefits as a spouse and can get up to 50% of his full benefit amount. If you're your full retirement age when he starts his benefits and you file, then you will receive 50% minus your own. So, thanks for all your trucks and tips, tricks and tips. Yes, getting ready to retire, 72562, trying to get an appointment in person. They are hard to get. My first phone call to Social Security, I was on hold for 3 hours. Yeah. So the one trick and tip is, if remember the first time you reached out to Social Security, write it down, take a screenshot of your phone that you were on hold to the 800 number, whatever the case may be. And then when you finally get in, set up an appointment and you finally get to your appointment, you are protected. So it's called protective filing. So if you called in January, and even if you didn't get in, they didn't pick up the phone because politicians refuse to get people to answer your phones, provide Social Security to do that. Anyway, but if you tried to get in January, but then you just gave up and, February comes around, March comes around, and you finally have an appointment in March, when you have your appointment in March, you can say, hey, I called y'all in January, so I want my check to start when I first called you, which was in January. That way you don't lose those benefits. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people that lose benefits because they don't know that trick. And that's kind of the plan of politicians to keep you from getting the benefits you paid for. But people that watch this channel and people that share know that trick. Is there an option of delaying your start date after you were approved for early retirement, delaying for a few months instead of withdrawing? Um, it depends where in the process you are. If the claim hasn't been, as we say, adjudicated yet, if they didn't push the final button, yeah, call up the claim specialist and say, hey, I want to wait a month or 2 months or something like that. And but if they've already pulled the trigger, adjudicated the claim, then yeah, it's going to be more difficult. But yeah, hopefully they haven't adjudicated yet, and you just tell them, yeah, change it. If it's too far out, then they'll just have to delete the claim, and you have to call them again and reschedule, because they can only basically sit on the claim for 3 months and a few days. Let's see. Is there a deadline on when you can draw ex-spouse benefits? No, no. I've had people that were married to, let's say, three people, and they were married to someone in their 20s for 10 years, and then they got married again for another 10 years and married again for another 10 years, and now they're, 65 years old. And when you go into Social Security, they ask you, were you married to anybody for over 10 years or anybody that, ended in death? And then so, yeah, I was married to three people for 10 years. And then it just so happens the person you were married to in your 20s went on to make a whole bunch of money. That's where you get the money. That's who you file on benefits on that particular person's record, because that's where the most money is. Let's see. Why Democrats never suffer? Yeah, I think it's both political parties, but anyway, why we have to send money around all countries around the world, but USA taxpayers never have it, nothing good. Okay, yeah, I think you're kind of, yeah, I think you're falling for their politician's trick to kind of, yeah, misdirection. Hey, Ed, on SSDI blind can make $2,700 a month. Yes. Does the hours matter? I work 22, 24-hour week. Yes. If you're it, if you're self-employed, sometimes the hours, well, technically, theoretically, technically, legally, policy-wise, it's the hours that's kind of most important when you're self-employed, because when you're self-employed, you can work 80 hours a week and still not make any money, but you're still working 80 hours a week. But in terms of if you're getting a W-2, and yeah, no, it doesn't matter how many hours you work as long as you stay under the SGA, the substantial gainful activity, for which is for blind, yeah, about 2,700. So first of all, nothing has even taken place yet, and you're running your mouth. Well, actually, the 10%, yeah, it has taken place. So there's that. Do I have to worry about getting my federal tax refund and Social Security direct deposit this month? Thanks for all your reassuring comments and expertise. I watch every video. I wish they were more reassuring. I wish I had some good news, but don't shoot the messenger. So do I have to worry about getting my federal tax fund and Social Security direct deposit this month? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, definitely set up direct deposit. If some people don't have a bank account, um, so they can't set up direct deposit. They've got credit issues and banks won't take them or whatever the case may be. But you can get a system. It's called Direct Express. I say that very smallly. Yeah, lowly. But there is a kind of a debit card type thing you can set up with Social Security, but try to avoid that as much as possible because the customer service on that is not great. Um, but another option, there's some banks out there that you go to and you can just say, hey, I've got Social Security check, direct deposited. I need to open up a bank account for these direct deposits. And usually if it's like a federal benefit type thing, they will let you open up a bank account, even if, you have issues. So how do I find out if my wife is designated as my spouse on my Social Security account? Yesterday, my local office couldn't or wouldn't help me on this question. Yeah, there is no designated thing, a spouse or anything like that, unless you have actually that your spouse has actually taken a claim. So if your spouse has actually filed, then it's on there. But yeah, there is no designation as a spouse or anything like that. Let's see. Yeah, but the other months you almost had to starve until you get an extra $10 in your Social Security after everybody else takes their share. You still get left with yeah, yeah. The cola again. The cola is based on the CPIW, Consumer Price Index for workers. It's younger workers. As I have argued several times in my videos, it should be based on another basket of goods, which is called the CPIE, Consumer Price Index for elderly. And it takes more of healthcare into account because when you get old, you have pay out more in healthcare. And if that was the case, then the COLA would be higher. I definitely agree with that. I think the COLA should be higher, not because, we have inflation. That's, not the greatest thing. The COLA should be higher because they calculate it differently. So there's that. All right. Let's see. I know you recommend Chapters evaluate your insurance advisor, but every number they call from is labeled as spam, junk, or some other virtually every call screen app. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, that's the first time I heard that. Okay, thanks for letting me know. I know, I don't know how when I ran my Social Security office for about 3 or 4 months until someone told us when we would call from the federal office from Social Security, the caller ID said Walmart. So people weren't picking up our calls and we would call them for, yeah. So I'm not sure about the phone system sometimes. I know when I call people on my phone, sometimes it depends on what your carrier is. Some carriers are a little bit more, yeah. So, all right. Thanks for letting me know. I'll definitely reach out to them and see what's going on, but you can always call them. I got another question today in my YouTube chat about stuff like that is, these Medicare insurance agents that never let you alone, and they're not supposed to do this. CMS passed a law back October of 2024 that restricts people like that calling you. If you call a Medicare insurance agent or that company and say, "Hey, I want to talk to you, give me a call," then you've given them authorization to call you. What has been happening is you click on Facebook and you have this person, you say, "Hey, call me," or whatever, or they get your number somehow and they cold call you, which they're not supposed to do. That's not supposed to do that. Or you call that one company and then, for some reason you don't like what they're offering or whatever, you don't like the person. They have been selling your phone number to other people, and every other Medicare insurance agent in the country has been buying your phone number, your information, and they harass you. They're not supposed to do that. As of October 2024, if you don't tell that particular company to call you, they're not supposed to call you. And so if you said, "Hey, Ed, tell Chapter to give me a call," couldn't do it. Can't do it. Sorry. You have to call them. "Hey, tell Chapter to give my brother a call." No, can't do it. Can't do it. It's illegal. So you have to call them. Let's see here. Ed, I applied for IEDS on September 18th. So awesome. Good, good, good. So IEDS is independently entitled divorce spouse benefits. That's when you file for divorce spouse benefits, but your ex-spouse has not filed for benefits yet. They're just 62 years old, which you can do. Called for months. Now today they want to get a birth certificate for the ex. Why? Till I called in, they never said anything. It's been 6+ months. I'm giving up. Yeah, no, please. If they are requesting that type of documentation, that means if the Social Security employee is doing these things correctly, which they probably are because this is extra work for them, um, that means there's money there. So, but the problem is with independently entitled divorce spouse benefits is that your ex-spouse hasn't filed for benefits yet. And maybe on that particular person's record, if they were born in the United States and their date of birth and everything is correct, then they wouldn't need the birth certificate. So maybe your ex was born outside the United States, or their date of birth doesn't match up, or something doesn't match up. So because normally they would have asked your ex to provide that information to correct the record, but since they haven't filed yet, yeah, unfortunately, you need to provide that information. But 6 months, it's unfortunate, but it definitely sounds like there's more money there. Um, so yeah, you're probably going to need to provide that birth certificate or call up and maybe the person has filed, and then you wouldn't need that birth certificate or anything. So my full retirement age, and as always, if you're just not getting any satisfaction from your local office, call your politician. Go on to your senator, congressperson's website, and click on that little button that says "I need help with a federal agency." Write down your information. Add on there what the hell are you doing to make sure this doesn't happen in the future for other people, and it'll turn into what's called a congressional, and hopefully you'll get your money. And remember, even if it's been 6 months, you're protected. So if it's taking you 6 months to get all this information, and you finally get your check, they're going to give you 6 months of retroactive, because when you first contact them, you're protected for that particular time. My full retirement age is in August. Should I wait till January to get additional $130 a month? Yeah, it's completely up to you. It 100%. Do you want the extra money? And but you're going to be missing out on, you do the calculation. So you're going to have what, 4 or 5 months of checks you're giving up. And so, if your check is $2,000 a month and you're waiting 4 months, that's $8,000. $8,000 divided by 130. How many months, how many years is it going to take up to cut, to break even? So, let me see here. Also, why not get rid of the 23,800, 23,400 income limit for people taking Social Security early, so that way people can still work full time and fill the Social Security trust fund with more Social Security? Yeah, but the limit has been around since 1935, because the Social Security was a system to replace your income because you're retired. And when you don't actually retire, it's not really replacing income that you lost from retiring. So that's why, yeah, they've had that for forever. So Let's see here. Wired magazine is reporting that Elon Musk has given outside engineer access to write code on programs at the Treasury Department of Bureau of Fiscal Service that controls Social Security. Yeah, if that code is like Social Security code, the basic system is actually COBOL and Fortran from the 1970s. They put a lot of lipstick on the pig, but the underlying basic code is COBOL and Fortran from the 1970s. So hopefully these kiddies, yeah, well, hopefully they don't know COBOL and Fortran, so they can't get in there and mess stuff up, or they, yeah. So it's the anyway. Tariffs are totally self-defeating. If you raise the price of something with a tariff, people won't buy it and you won't get much tariff revenue. Domestic producers would just raise their prices. Yeah, how do people decide how much they charge for something? How much you will pay. Yeah, it's not about, how much does it cost to make and how much is transportation to do that. It's all about how much will you pay. That's why a handbag from Walmart is, $7, but a handbag from Louis Vuitton is $7,000. How much will you pay? My mom does not remember what her Medicare plan or if she pays. How do we get a statement to know? Wow, yeah. If you don't even know your Medicare plan, you call Medicare 800 Medicare. You can call chapter there, and they'll have access. If she has her Medicare number, they can look it up in the system and tell her exactly what she's got and whether she's got the best thing for her. So, I have a question for a friend. Deborah, you are too awesome. We always like people looking out for other people. She is receiving survivor benefits and is 64. Her husband, who passed, was getting SSDI before he passed. Is she eligible to get Medicare before she is 65? No. Yeah, unfortunately. If I was dictator for the day, if as soon as you start your Social Security benefits, whether it's 60 or 62, you should get Medicare. But anyway, but no, she has to wait till 65, unfortunately. Let's see. He's not in control of the checkbook right now. He's trying to check and see who's being corrupt with the people tax money and Social Security money. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Any tips for applying for spousal Social Security benefits? My wife needs to apply in the next couple of months. Thanks for helping us all. You're welcome. Um, yeah. So this is your current wife. So you are currently receiving Social Security benefits. She will file for benefits on her own record. She has to file for benefits on her own record first, and then she will file for benefits, spouse benefits on yours if yours is over twice her benefit amount. And if in terms of documentation, if she was born in the United States and her, everything is correct on on her record, then she won't even need her birth certificate. She won't even probably need the marriage certificate because you just be on the phone there with her, and she'll hand the phone to you, and they'll ID you, and they'll say, "Are you married to her?" And that's the proof right there. So pretty easy. She can do that online. Make sure she checks her earnings record. I'm sure you've already checked your earnings record, but make sure she checks her earnings record. Go on to Social Security, set up a My Social Security account. Make sure, we're getting to tax season. Everybody, please, anybody in your life, tax season is upon us, and particularly young people. When they file their taxes and they get their refunds or pay their ounce of flesh, tell them you're not done. Your next step, your final step before tax season is over, go into the Social Security website, My Social Security, set up an account there and check to make sure your earnings got to Social Security, because that's how they're going to determine how much you get for the rest of your life for retirement or disability, or your spouse or whatever the case may be, is based on how much you actually paid into Social Security. There's just too many people that come to me and say, Ed, I'm got, 0 years in, 1982 and 1983. I know I worked those years, but I don't have the records anymore. What do I do? It's very, very difficult to fix those, decade, 2 decades, 3 decades later. It's super easy to fix it immediately. So tell everybody to go in there and, make sure they check their earnings record. It's very, very important. So particularly the youngins out there, even those people that are in the Social Security Administrations, and you're already in the Social Security Administration, you young kids under Elon's. Yeah, so I guess go in there and look at your records. But Let's see. My mother passed away of dementia last year, trying to decide what to do with her house, rent or sell, which was transferred to me before she passed. What would that do to my SSD if I rent or sell? Okay, so you said SSD, Social Security Disability Insurance. Nothing. Um, if you said SSI, the Supplemental Security Income, the welfare-based program that Social Security administers, yeah, then it's going to have a big effect. But since you're receiving Social Security Disability Insurance, no effect on your Social Security disability at all because that's not considered work, unless you also have another, two or three or five or six different places that you rent out, and that's your business to rent out properties, and that's your job, net income from business. Then that will affect it. But if it's just just a side thingy, no issues whatsoever. Um, okay, I like to read I'm going to start reading more negative ones here. Does this guy give any good advice while pushing a pro dem agenda? I don't know. I guess I guess y'all have to decide that one. I made more than my husband, so I was told that I could only receive $89 additional death benefits. Okay, yeah, that doesn't make sense. If you made more than, again, over your high 35 years, so this is over the high 35 years, you made every single year of those high 35 years, you made more than his high 35 years. If that's the case, then you receive nothing from if he passes away. If you pass away, he will receive that benefit. So what I'm figuring is that he actually made more over his lifetime, and it just so happens it's $89 more. So yeah, that sounds correct. I'm getting ready to turn 65 in August. Who can I talk to about Medicare? Yeah, you can call chapter there and they can help you out. So you are one of the 11,000 people a day, the silver tsunami, that are turning 65. It's the most people turning 65 in U.S. history. And the last time we did that was last year. So, yeah, 76 million Americans were born between 1946 and 1964. Something about coming back from World War II and stuff like that. So, anyway, Scott, no dividends, interest, and cap gains are not earned income. They should be, though. Yeah, yeah, your first sentence there, yeah, they're not earning income, so they don't count against the annual earnings limit for early retirement for Social Security. Might count against the Medicare Extra Part B premium, the IRMA premium, but should they count? And yeah, in terms of so in terms of FICA, yeah, definitely, I would agree on that one. Let's see. Dr. Ed, thank you so much for your help. I finally got approved for my surviving spouse benefits. Just waiting to see how much it is. Awesome, Anna. Awesome. So remember, it just ain't me. It's all those people that pressed like and subscribed and shared and all that kind of stuff. That's how you came to know about the channel. So everybody out there, round of applause for y'all for helping Anna find her money. Awesome. And so you're just waiting. Yeah, if you wait too long, if something happens, make sure you reach out to your politician and say, hey, I understand Social Security is understaffed, and what are you doing about it? And I've been waiting too long to get my survivor benefit. So hopefully you get it soon. So let's see here. Daniel, if I file a SSA 44 for a life-changing event, would that loss of income from the rental income provide me an amendment on the premium on Plan B as well as a capital gain? Yeah, the life-changing event, the SSA 44 is a pretty easy-ish form to fill out. There's like six blocks there, and if you lose income from work or rental income or stuff like that, then yes, that is considered a life-changing event. So if your extra Part B premium is for 2025, then they've already made the decision, but that's fine. That's what this life-changing event form it is for. You fill it out, you return it to Social Security, and they will make a decision. And if it turns out, again, they're way understaffed. But if it turns out, next month or 2 months, they give you a favorable decision, then they will return your money starting January, or actually technically December. But anyway. I started my Social Security retirement when I was 62. I'm now 64 and limit on how much I can make. Can I pause my benefits until I reach 67 so I can make more income? Yeah, what you can do is, if you've got that, yes, you can do that. Um, and what you do is you just file a work report. So you call up Social Security and say, "Hey, I'm going back to work, and I'm going to make X amount of money." So if you tell them you're going to make $10,000 over, they're just going to hold back $5,000, a couple of three checks or whatever. It depends how much you make. But if you say, okay, I'm going to make, 50 or 60, $70,000 over, then they're going to withhold all the benefits and you're not going to get any check because they withhold $1 for every $2 you go over. And here's how it happens. So if you're receiving, benefits 30 months early, then your benefits are reduced by 30 months. Okay. You're receiving a check that's been reduced by 30 months. But then if you go back to work after 10 months, you didn't get 20 of those checks. So once you reach your full retirement age, then the Social Security computer system looks at it when you restart your benefits or something at that age, and they say, "Hey, Leah, her check is being reduced by 30 months, but she only took 10 months of that." So what they do is they readjust your benefits and they only give you a 10-month reduction because you only took your benefits for 10 months. So it will be recalculated, and that's 100% automatic. So always a hateful troll or two online. Yeah. I'm so sensitive, being the old Marine Corps sergeant I am. I'm so sensitive to these guys. Yeah. I'm gonna have to give a class on how to personally attack people. And yeah, I learned very well in the Marine Corps. I'm trying to be. Anyway, after waiting all day from August 28th to the 9th, it took them 60 days to respond, and that's because I called them. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Remember, hopefully you also asked for that back pay, that retroactivity if you wanted that. Is there part B or C, are they the same? Okay, here's a touchy subject for me, Tim. So Medicare Part A, if RFK is out there, he failed this test in his confirmation hearing. Part A covers the hospitalization, and it's zero premium for most people. Part B covers your doctors, outpatient type stuff, and that's, Part B is $185 per month. There's a lot of gaps in Part B. Part C is Medicare Advantage plans. I hate calling it Part C. I don't like calling it Part C because it sounds like it's part of original Medicare. It's not. It's You're essentially giving up original Medicare and giving your health care to a private company, which there's zero premium, but you've paid for all this. And then there's Part D, the prescription drug plan. So when you turn 65, if you have to sign up for Medicare, if you have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's, and your employer has 20 or more employees, and you're happy with that, health care, and your employer isn't making you sign up for Medicare or something, then you don't have to sign up for Medicare. And then, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later down the street, when stop receiving that health insurance from current work, then you can sign up for Medicare without any penalties. But once you sign up for original Medicare, if you sign up for Part A and Part B, unless you got a few $1 million under your mattress somewhere, you really need to get something to cover all the gaps. And I always recommend looking at a Medicare supplement plan first, Medicare supplement plan N or a plan G. Look at those first. And if it's not right for you, usually it's a budget issue because those do have monthly premiums. Um, and that's why 51% people get Medicare Advantage. And if you're going to get a Medicare Advantage, it just takes more work, networks, prior authorizations. You need to check that on a yearly basis. So, yeah, there is extra work when it comes to a Medicare Part C, aka Medicare Advantage plan. Um, DAC question. So DAC is a disabled adult child, someone that is receiving benefits off their parents' record because they became disabled before the age of 22. Okay. All right, Jackie, I am 40, been on SSI for 20 years. My mom got SSDI 9 years ago, and they said I didn't qualify for DAC, but no explanation as why I don't qualify, but my sibling does. Yeah, so they have to determine, not sure, did you file the application and go through the whole process and it was a medical denial? They said you didn't become disabled before the age of 22, or did you get remarried, or did you work, or any of those things. So yeah, I'd be interested to find out exactly why they denied you. So let's see. You're great. Thank you for all your sharing, all your knowledge and experience. Those who wish to leave ridiculous comments, they can either sit down or keep scrolling. The best of us appreciate you. You're welcome. Yeah, that doesn't affect you. I think it's fun reading those sometimes. So yeah. So under weapon GPO, I'm receiving benefits based on the first husband. Second husband just died and made more money than the first husband. Will Social Security automatically switch me over? No, they will not. You have to go in there and do it because they don't know about, they know about the passing, but they don't know that you were married to the person or entitled to the benefits or whatever the case may be. So no, you have to go in there and file for benefits on that person's record. And if that second husband also work for a government entity that did not pay into Social Security, well, your weapon GPO is no longer relevant, right? But remember, um, so the weapon GPO no longer apply. So when you go in and file for benefits, check, whose benefit amount is actually more. Because once they recalculate the benefits based on the Social Security Fairness Act for the first husband, maybe that might be more. So, yeah, so definitely check it out. Let's see. I think it's nice that you were sincerely using your expertise to help. You're welcome. We need more people to understand the system who are willing to share experience, expertise. Kudos to you. The Direct Express card. Yes, the Direct Express card. Yeah, that's a private company, so I don't want to talk too much bad about them. But yeah, they customer service on those are terrible. You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here, and more people. I've always said, that we've got enough kids out there, blowing stuff up and doing, stupid dances on social media. We need people out there that are retired, more experienced and stuff. So, if you know anybody that has, experience with, food banks or Section 8 housing or affordable housing or whatever, I'm always looking for people to come in and, help provide information. So if you are an expert on that, you work for whatever agency or nonprofit helping people do X, Y, and Z, helping seniors and the disabled, please reach out to me, and we'll have you on and you can provide your expertise. Do you pay tax on your pension? Is my pension considered income and can be taxed? I'd reach out to your tax people on that. Uh, Dr. Ed, I watched your video on reading your Social Security report, so I stopped working at 60 and plan on collecting at 62. The amount on the report at 62 is wrong. It will be less. Okay, so for the online statement, they are estimates. So when you go online and see how much you're going to receive, at 62 or 65 or 67 or 70 or whatever the case may be, those are the closer you get to those ages, the more accurate the online statements and those paper statements are. Because if you look at that when you're 55 years old and you say, how much will I make, get from Social Security when I turn 67? Social Security doesn't know what you're making for the next 12 years. So what they do is they guesstimate based on your recent earnings. So they say, hey, you made $50,000 last year. So we figure you're probably going to make about the same for the next 12 years. So if that's the case, then here's your amount. So yeah, so those are estimates. You won't get a 100% definitive number until you actually get that decision letter after you've taken a claim. So all the other ones are kind of guesstimates. So, what if you were only married for 24 years and then he remarries? Would I still be entitled to his Social Security benefits, or would it be his current wife? Yeah, as long as you were married for at least 10 years, you're good. And it doesn't affect that person's new spouse or their new kids or anything like that. If you file for benefits on that person's record, they won't even know it. As the person earlier said, if you're doing the independently entitled divorce spouse benefits, you have to jump through a couple of more hoops. But if your ex-spouse is already receiving benefits, then it's super, super easy. You just prove that you were married to that person for at least 10 years. It doesn't matter if, they've been remarried or you've been remarried. You have to be divorced. You have to be single now. But if your first ex or second ex or whatever, there's more money there, then you just have to prove the 10 years marriage. And then you have to file for benefits on your own record first. And then, you get up to half of that person's. So. Let's see here. Hubby has one and it works fine. I have spoken to customer service and they were okay. I find that in this day when everything is online, there are many situations where you can no longer get. Oh, okay. So you're talking about Direct Express. Oh, okay. Good. Good. So you've had some better experience with them. So what basically what it is, a Direct Express is a card, kind of like a debit card that you can sign up for through Social Security if you can't get a direct deposit to like a bank or something like that. They give you that Direct Express thing, and yeah. So sounds like okay. So good. Customer service is getting better. So but Social Security customer service is getting worse. And politicians, yeah, that's their plan. I was married to a firefighter from Chicago, and I collect my retirement in his. He qualifies for the act President Biden signed. Will I get half if he gets the New York retirement? Okay. Um, okay. So you have already filed for benefits on his record, and he was a Chicago firefighter, so he didn't pay into Social Security in his primary job, but he did work under Social Security wherever. So you're entitled to up to half of that. So um, yeah, then you just unfortunately have to, as we used to say in the Marine Corps, hurry up and wait until they unwep his PIA, until they recalculate his benefits. And once they recalculate his benefits, then your benefits will be increased as well. But again, Congress didn't give Social Security the resources to do it as quickly as we would like. But anyway, so you shouldn't have to do anything if you've already filed a claim and you're receiving at least $1 from his record. That means you're already on the record. If you didn't file for benefits on his record because at that time said, well, there's no more money there, then definitely file. So there's a lot of people out there that don't know there's extra benefits. So if you know anybody, you or anybody else um, that was married to someone that worked in one of those non-covered pensions, teacher, firefighter, city employee, state employee that worked in it's called a non-covered pension, entity. 3% of state, local, even federal government before the 1980s, they didn't pay into Social Security. If you were ever married to someone like that and you filed for benefits on their record at one time, but they say, no, there's not enough benefits there, um, you might want to check again because once they do the recalculations, you might be entitled to more money. So, husband died at 62 on SSDI after drawing 16 months from cancer. How will my survivor benefits be calculated? Your benefits will be calculated 100% based on the age you start those benefits. Because if he had taken benefits early, then there would be a further reduction. But he didn't take those benefits early because he was on SSDI. So SSDI isn't considered early or late or whatever. So his the SSDI won't affect your benefits. So if you are your full retirement age when you start those benefits, then you'll get 100% of his full benefit amount. So let's see here. I checked my retirement statement. It appears that my 1099 tax estimates and one of my W-2 employer deduction was what's the rest of it? Okay. Yeah, definitely check those. And if you see anything wrong, reach out. Social Security provide those W-2s. Usually what it is somewhere along the lines, someone, you know, mistypes the Social Security number and your Social Security number is supposed to be 1-2, but they typed in 2-1 by mistake somewhere along the lines. Your accountant, the IRS, Social Security, whatever and then Social Security has what's called a suspense file. So there's actually billions of dollars out there in a suspense file that are just money that are just kind of floating around in limbo and waiting for someone to say, "Hey, that's my $20,000 I earned in 2001." And they say, "Oh, okay. Well, what's your name and what company did you work for?" "Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. Those are your earnings." "Oh, okay. Looks like somebody mistyped the Social Security number." And there's $37 billion out there per year that people that are not supposed to be working in this country, undocumented aliens, illegal aliens, they're paying into Social Security, and that money is sitting out there, and they'll never get it. So that's kind of a donation to Social Security, essentially. So, how do you get a Medicare statement? Mom does not remember. Oh, okay, I already talked about. Yeah, same question there. All right, we are running out of time. Let me get one more question here of someone I don't recognize. LY, I was widowed when I was young. If I'm married at age 60, but in the process of getting a divorce, is it too late for me to claim on my first husband who is deceased? No, if you can, remarry at 60, after 60, and continue those benefits. But if you get divorced and you're single, then you can go back and get those benefits. It doesn't terminate your benefits, your eligibility to get those benefits. So, all right, let's see. We'll do one last question, and then it'll be it for the day. My husband, a vet, died in 2023, and I was told that I couldn't receive DCI because he didn't die from military related. Yeah, DCI. I'm not sure. That's a VA thing. Yeah, I definitely need to get someone that's an expert on VA type benefits on here one day. So, all right. And yeah, I think we're out of time, and I've got tons of questions there. Unfortunately, can't get them all, but I will be back again tomorrow, and we'll talk about the topic of the day. Not sure what that's going to be yet, but I'll talk about the topic of the day, and then we'll go into all your questions.